grade right here. These are some of my students. Oh, so we're on this side that I've had in the past. And I'm really looking forward to being together today. I'm going to be answering any questions that you have on Twitter at hashtag #AskAnSMT. So feel free to ask any questions during the webinar, after the webinar, or even another day. I can be reached also at Skype Amy on Twitter. So again, Amy Rosenstein, Skype Master Teacher, Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert, 3rd grade in New York. I've been using Skype in my classroom. This is the 9th year already, which is hard to believe. And it's changed the world for me and most importantly for my students. We've traveled the world to every continent and over 40 countries so far, and we have many more planned. We've used Skype for a whole variety of things. We've met experts, we've met authors, we've taken virtual field trips, and I know many of you have as well. There's so many more to do. The site's always adding new ideas and new connections all the time. Last year, something new that I started was to incorporate the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals into what I was already doing. And I found that it really is a common language that people are starting to use from country to country. So, for example, we had a call with a researcher in Antarctica, and that was something we had done in the past, which the kids, of course, love. They're 8 and 9 years old, and we watch the penguins waddling across the screen live in Antarctica. And it led to a conversation about global warming. And we had heard that part of the Antarctic ice shelf had broken off. And we were wondering if that was due to climate change. That ties directly into Global Goal 13, climate action. So by starting to label the calls that I was already doing, it really started to add something to the lessons. So let me back up a little bit. I said last year I started to incorporate the UN Sustainable Development Goals into my curriculum. And many of you know this, and this may be new for some. There are 17 goals that were adopted in 2015, and the goal is to achieve them by 2030. So there are things like gender equality, quality education, life below water, life on land. And this is something that we're working 193 nations as part of the United Nations to work toward. So a lot of the lessons I've been doing already lend themselves directly. We did some Earth Day projects, which lend themselves directly to the Sustainable Development Goals also. So I think this is something that is easy to do. It can be as simple or as complex as you might like. What my kids personally did in my class last year was we kicked off our unit by watching one of the videos by World's Largest Lesson. And I'm going to be sharing specifically in a little bit. I'll share my screen and show you some ideas of and how to access these things. The children were so interested in the World's Largest Lesson video that they went home and talked about it. It turned out over the weekend. One of the assignments that I do every Monday is we write about our weekend and we talk about it first. One of the kids raised his hand after I had asked, what did you do over the weekend? Some children talked about soccer games, some talked about going to a movie. He talked about watching the video from World's Largest Lesson with his family, and now they want to do something about the climate in our country and the world. So that was so exciting, music to my ears, because that was just something that triggered his interest naturally. So after that, we created digital posters. Every child chose a goal, and they created a digital poster based on that goal. Then I found in the past that once kids have an audience, an authentic audience for what they create, everything changes. It's more purposeful, they take more ownership of their work, and we shared the posters they made with children around the world. So we met some children in Kenya, and we shared our posters with them. They shared with us what they know about the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We also shared our posters with Janie Hatchin's class in Kansas, and the kids there were so interested that they, in turn, created their own posters. Now, that's very simple. Creating digital posters is something that my kids, I showed them how to use the website, and they took it over and created everything that they needed to do in order to share with the class. It also had them practice the vocabulary. I think part of incorporating the Sustainable Development Goals is learning the vocabulary. As they move on from my class, from 3rd grade into 4th and 5th, they're already going to know the term gender equality. They're going to know climate action. It's going to be part of what they say and part of the conversations they have going forward. So those are just some examples of a very simple way of going ahead and creating a basic project that can be shared over Skype. I've also created a Skype collaboration to connect teachers. So I can go into some details on that. And just to show you, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you the collection that the Microsoft Educator community has on the Skype in the Classroom portion, which is a Teach SDGs collection. So if you go to this collection, you're going to see a whole bunch of lessons that you can sign up for, contacts that you can make, all related to the Sustainable Development Goals. So I'm going to click on that now and share my screen. Okay, one second. Okay, so here we have the Teach SDGs collection. You can see Teaching Sustainable Development Goals in your classroom. Here's a bunch of second graders holding up some of the goals that they were so excited about. And there's a great video that you can watch here with a little bit of background about the SDGs. Once you scroll, again, there's some more reading, and you can see here is the Skype collaboration that I created, and I'll take you to that momentarily in a separate window. But that's an opportunity for teachers to connect with other teachers around the world around the goal. So it's very open. If you have a specific goal you're interested in, you sign up for this collaboration, and you'll be able to find a partner somewhere else in the world who's also working on that. And as a result of that collaboration, an example of a more complex project is through this collaboration, there was a teacher in Canada, Sean Robinson, who connected with Fred Sagway in Kenya, and also Gina Demova in Macedonia. And the three of them worked together on solar lanterns, which are directly related to the Sustainable Development Goals. So their children collaborated, worked together, and that's what I'm talking about. It can be much more complex than a poster, or it could be as simple as that. So I'm sure many of you have your own ideas of how you can go ahead and do this, but a great way to connect with other teachers around the world is by going right here to this Teach SDGs Skype collaboration. Right here we have the webinar that we're already a part of, which I believe will be available again once we're finished with it. And then I'm just going to scroll down so you can get an idea of what else is available. Once you get to the bottom here, you can view some more, and you'll see a whole variety of lessons as well, and so on. So you'll get the hang of it and get the sense for what else is available by clicking View More. Right here, there is a terrific course that you can take on the Microsoft Educator community. You can see it right here, and you will get this badge, which is a plus for those of us interested in collecting badges. It's a 1-hour course, which really gives a great background on the United Nations about, and also the development of the goals themselves, how they came about, and specifics about the goals. There are targets that are part of the goals as well. There are indicators that are part of the goals, and you'll understand all of that by taking this course. I highly recommend it. It's a great introduction, and I think it'll really prompt some more ideas. So I would recommend that too. There's also a gender equality course, which is very current. A lot of people these days, recently it seems, I know in the United States and I'm sure elsewhere around the world, gender equality is a topic that's discussed most recently. I noticed on a lot of the current events sites that I use in my class, that's a big focus. So this course is really well organized and informative, so I recommend that too. And then you can always create your own Skype collaboration by going here as well. So this is a course to learn how to create your own Skype collaboration, and then there's more here. So that is the idea for the Teach SDGs collection. Let me show you. This is, hold on one second. Okay, I'm just trying to click. One second. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, so it looks like I'm trying to get to my tabs. Okay, here is my collaboration, where you can see, which is what I was mentioning before, after viewing the world's largest lesson and being introduced to the goals. There's an introduction to the no poverty, zero hunger, and all of these things here. You can also reach that same course by going here. Here, this is an example of some of the posters that my students have made. So if you click here, you can see that as simple as a poster. There are a variety. This is what one of the kids, Mateo, made. People do not like climate change. It can hurt our beloved Earth, and so on. So that is one example of that, of those posters, and there are 22 of them from last year. So everything is indicated right here. If you would like to make a connection to a partner, you just go to request this Skype collaboration by pressing this purple button. And there's a great video, which many of you may have seen, some of you may not have, introduced by Malala Yousafzai right here, world's largest lesson as well. And there's a lot of resources. I put together a sway, which is located down at the bottom, which is the grade 2 students campaign for the SDGs. And if you take a look at that, you can click on it. Right now it's small, but you can go ahead and enlarge your screen for some ideas of how to support the global goals. Last year, my children also made some paper posters. And so this is an example of what they did. We cut out the goals and just glued them on. And that's another way to go about it too. Sometimes it's nice to do the old-fashioned drawing with your hand in addition to all of the digital work. So that's all here too. And that's the class watching the world's largest lesson video. Going on, so then there are a lot of resources on the websites too that you can use to complement the lessons. And something else that's also coming up, which many of you may know about, is the Skype-a-thon. I'm really excited to take part for the 3rd year in a row, coming up this November, the 28th and 29th, to travel as many miles as we can around the world. My kids love to do it every year. We love to calculate the miles, add them up, so math comes into it, and figure out how far we can travel. This year, I'm going to incorporate the SDGs because in addition to what I'm already doing, why not label the calls? So again, I mentioned the Antarctica call. The plan is to do that again this year, which will be labeling by goal. And then I have a variety of others as well by making contacts through the collaborations that are posted on the site. So I would recommend going to skypeathon.com, and that'll take you directly to the site that you see right now, which is right here. And there's a great video introducing it. The goal this year is to travel 10 million virtual miles. I can't even tell you how exciting it is when the kids figure out the total for our total, and then once we figure out the grand total. Last year, the kids were screaming, they were hugging each other. Luckily, I had my video camera handy my phone, and I got everything recorded. So the enthusiasm for learning just is inherent in the whole experience. So I think why not incorporate the Sustainable Development Goals into the Skype-a-thon this year wherever you can. And it's just another layer to add on to it. So this is the Skype-a-thon site where there's specific information about if you'd like to have a virtual field trip, you can do Skype lessons, Skype collaborations. Mystery Skypes are also lots of fun. And again, mystery Skypes can be part of the Sustainable Development Goals, the global goals too, and guest speakers. So whatever you do, we would love to hear about it. If you would share it on hashtag Skype-a-thon. Also, at the end of the call, or now, hashtag Ask an SMT, and also hashtag Teach SDGs is a great way to post information and to reach myself and others. I'm one person of many who are involved in teaching the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm part of teachsdgs.org, one of the co-founders, and we have a large task force that has met with the United Nations several times over the past year. We started last October. So it's something that we're really moving forward with. The task force has grown tremendously, and many of us use Skype as part of the experience of teaching the global goals. So I really recommend, feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you might have. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm going to go ahead and see if there are any specific questions And I really appreciate your joining me today. And here's to teaching the global goals and improving the world by 2030. Thank you.